Okay, remember that video that we did where when we talked about the when I was on Chichen Itza? Can you run through that one more time? Like everything you remember from that day?
Well, not right now. I have to get going. Dana is waiting.
Dana can wait.
Let me call Dana. You know, I will do this sometime, but now.
Okay, so did I just start like going up the pyramid like by myself? Did I say I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take off and go up the pyramid?
No. And we said, well, we better go next. We better go. We're saying, come on down. And they were, so Norm and I left. I was the next one, and then Norm. So it was you, Heather. You were like 7 feet ahead of Heather, and I caught up to Heather, and I was right behind Heather. So when you got to the top, I was in a position being taller and bigger. I could see on the top. And so when I got there, there was a chain down the pyramid, down the middle of the pyramid. And you guys were there, and you started climbing up. And we said, well, we better go next. We better go. We're saying, come on down. And they were, so Norm and I left. I was the next one, and then Norm. So it was you, Heather. You were like 7 feet ahead of Heather, and I caught up to Heather, and I was right behind Heather. So when you got to the top, I was in a position being taller and bigger. I could see on the top. And so when I got there, there was a man, and I remember that he had like a leather kind of loincloth hanging, and he had like beads and stuff on his chest. And I remember some feathers, not going straight up, but kind of a couple off to the side. And he came, I was pretty sure he came out of the building on the top. And it was like he came out quick. And he saw us, and he was like telling me to go back. And I remember that he had like a leather kind of loincloth hanging, and he had like beads and stuff on his chest. And I remember some feathers, not going straight up, but kind of a couple off to the side. And he came, I was pretty sure he came out of the building on the top. And it was like he came out quick. And he saw us, and he was like telling me to go back, go back. And that it was there, and he was trying to tell me something in Spanish, probably, that I didn't understand. And as he, right at that time, this snake came, and he turned, and he went down the stairs to the other side. This thing had stairs on 4 sides, I think. I don't know about that side. And he saw the snake, and he ran away. And the snake came out, and it went right 8 feet away, but it came down, and what amazed me was that it hit only the tops, the corners, the edges of the stone, and it was gone.
Which direction did it go? Did it go towards the forest, towards the jungle, towards the airport, towards
the playing field?
The playing fields. So like, okay, gotcha.
Because the opening to that little box up there faces the playing fields.
Yeah.
And it was a long, skinny black snake. And the man was trying to warn us of the snake being up there.
Gotcha. Did we go to see any other sites on there? Up on in the
Yeah, we went to one, and that we realized at the top it was like a big hole. And it was like, oh, better watch out, kids could fall down that. And then we went in to around one building.
What was the hole? Like, tell me about the hole.
It was like just a brickwork or construction, and it was like open up there. It was raised up, but it was open. I don't know what that was.
Do you know which building that was? Was it like the to the left or to the right of the ball
It wasn't part
fields?
of the pyramids. It was part of.
It's all part of this.
Yeah.
It is part of
some other ruins.
the
What
ruins.
I
Yeah.
found fascinating was that in several of the passageways, that even though they could build these beautiful pyramids, they could not do a complete arch. And that, as we have found out, takes a high level of intelligence to do a whole arch, like we have in the Middle Ages and stuff. But their arch only came up on an angle, half arch on that. And they had an observatory. They studied the stars.
The stars, yeah.
We were the only tourists there in those days.
Yeah.
There was one place that had soup. We did eat there, but we didn't eat the soup.
And how about that little statue that we bought from one of the little kids?
Yeah,
We don't
there
have
was
it
a
anymore.
couple of things. There was like a little statue carving. I remember
I wish we still had that.
it was a brand new blacktop road that went from Merida out to Chichen Itza. And it took a good hour or more to drive on it. It was brand new, it just opened. And it went to different villages. And the villages, the houses were all circular with probably 4-inch, maybe 5-inch poles put in a circle, and then it had a thatch roof or some or maybe more of these thin logs for the roof, and they all had one door and one window, and in the center were some poles, and strung between the poles was a hammock, and that was their only furniture of the villages around Chichen Itza. Now there's hotels and everything.
Any strange things that like you remember at all? Strange people?
No, they were the little boys were running around without shirts on and some kind of jeans, pants or something, shorts. And when we went to one village, the kids came up and they had some kind of fruit in this coconut shell, just the shell of it. And I wanted to keep the coconut shell, no, just the fruit. And then he went to, Norma's getting some money out to give him, and the kid reached in the window and he grabbed the wallet, and they were struggling, and I reached over and I grabbed the kid's wrist, and I made him let go, but they were going to take his wallet.
Oh wow. How long were we there for, and what were we? Was it vacation or?
We were on one of these flights, 21 days you could fly.
Anywhere in the world. So,
Yeah, so we had gone to a convention for apartment owners in Texas, and then in San Antonio, Riverwalk, and then we flew to Merida, and that was early morning, and we bought hammocks, and then we.
Do you remember which side of the pyramid I walked up?
The side facing the ball field.
The ball field, okay.
And then we rented a car at the airport, and we drove out that hour to the ruins. And then on the way back, it was sunset and it was getting dark. And as we drove through the villages, the one closest to Merida had a TV, and a whole bunch of people were sitting outside watching the TV that was right outside the hut. So these people had electricity.
Do you remember where the snake took off? Once he got to the bottom of the pyramid, where did he go?
Behind us, towards the pyramids. Towards the ball field.
Straight towards the ball field?
We were coming up.
And
here's the house. Okay.
On top of Chichen Itza.
Yeah. The Indian guy went that way. And I think he went in there and then saw and I think people went in there and urinated because there was a smell.
Really bad smell.
Of urine.
Did you get to go inside?
No.
Because it smelled so bad.
Yeah. And plus the snake came out of there.
Okay.
And so he went this way down that side of we were on this side, and the snake came out the door and slithered on down, hitting just the edges of the stones.
Yeah, going towards the ball field.
Right. And so we had the big chain, this big heavy chain, and we went down the pyramid backwards.
Okay. And then what'd you guys do?
Then we went back over to the shade. We got into the car. And I think we had gone exploring before that.
Okay.
And then we went to a restaurant somewhere along the way and ate, and then drove back. And then it was nightfall when we got to the airport, and then we flew out.
Okay.
So we were there just for the day.
Okay.
But in the early morning when we first got there, when we were buying the hammocks, there was someone who had a stand. He was like in a little trailer, and he was inside the trailer, and there was like a shelf, and you could buy things. And he made we got something. Was it like a smoothie or pieces of papaya or something? And there was one lady, an older grandmother there, that was smiling and speaking Spanish to me, that I had beautiful children.
Did and then Dad started peeing blood when you got to Florida?
Back at our house on Inlet Island.
Okay.
So we were back by then.
Okay.
All this was after. The blood was when we were in
That house over there.
There, and then he went to the hospital. They did the x-ray. They saw that he had a tumor on his kidney, and we were in Good Sam, and the surgeon said, well, I'm leaving to go to Mazatlan or someplace to fish, but I'll be back in a week and I can take the kidney out. And when we told Dr. Stevens that, he said, no way, we're having this done right now. And he took us over to Tacoma General, and they took it out a couple of days later. And then I said, well, Todd's really looking forward to us coming. We've got the flight. Let's just go and you'll relax. So we did fly to
That's what it was.
Washington, D.C.
Right.
with Todd.
That's where he started to feel sick again and wanted to go home.
Yeah,
That's what it was. Yeah.
So when we got home, he just, and I took care of all the luggage and the tickets and everything, and he just sat with you kids, dressed in the little blue skirt and the blue pants with the red suspenders.
That's when we were in Washington, D.C. That was cute, yeah.
Yeah. That's where we saw Cabbage Patch Dolls for the first time, too, at the airport.
Huh.
Yeah. That might have been in Texas. And then a couple of days later or whatever, he went back in, and Dr. Letts at Sumner, he said, Norm, I want you to go get a scan, a nuclear test. So we went to, you weren't with, I don't think you were with me, maybe, I don't think so. And then he got injected with the nuclear stuff, and then we had to wait like 3 or 4 hours or something. And I think John Wayne had just died.